Sandip, so nice to see you again.
Good to see you as well.
Good, we haven't spoken in a while, so I'm glad that we get to interview you today.
Absolutely, it's been almost a year.
Well, exactly, and that's where I wanted to start. You know, last year at HostingCon, we saw you with NetMagic, and got a bit of a sense of what you guys are doing now, but how about you tell me how things have been going since then? I know there's been a lot of growth on a lot of different levels, so
Sure.
why don't you tell me a bit about that?
Yeah, so since we last met, it's been a year and a half.
Yeah.
And the company has grown in many, many fronts. When we met, we had just launched what we call the Remote Infrastructure Management Services,
Right.
which is where we manage other people's IT infrastructure, whether it's commercial data center providers or enterprises from our NOCs in India. And as you know, NetMagic has 3 data centers in India at that time, and 1 virtual data center here in the US in San Francisco. But since then, few things have happened. We've raised a round of funding, which is almost $25 million.
Right.
And then based on that, we recently launched one of our biggest data centers, which is 40,000 square feet in Mumbai.
Right.
And we can't build them fast enough. And we already have plans to build 2 more, one in Delhi and one in Chennai.
Fantastic.
Coming up. And we've also acquired the first few customers for our RIM business in the US as well. We haven't announced them, but as they deploy, we'll surely be announcing them.
Good, so we should be looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Speaking on the topic of your data centers, you mentioned something about certification.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
Sure, so it's very important for companies that are outsourcing their mission critical environments, whether they are in manufacturing, retail, finance, to have a certain level of comfort on processes and framework where they're hosting their infrastructure. So we continuously look for industry certification on data center. So recently we did the ISO 27001 certification for all our data centers. This is done by a third party, and it's a fairly rigorous process where they go through our controls, our compliance, our security, and we're glad that we went through with that with no issues at all.
Good.
And we are also SAS 70 Type 2 certified as well.
Good.
So all our customers feel very comfortable with that kind of certification and compliance in place.
Fantastic. I know you recently also launched the SAP App Managed Service, so why don't you tell me more about that?
Yeah, so very recently IDC did a survey in India with a lot of our customers and generally the industry, and what they came back was we were the higher revenue per square feet in India in terms of revenue.
Really?
And so which was a pleasant surprise for us because we provide a lot of managed services.
Right.
And we host a lot of customers, ERP systems today. And what we decided that rather than doing reactively, we proactively would launch application services. And as part of that, first one we are offering is the SAP App Managed Services, where we can host and manage customers' SAP infrastructure in our data centers.
Now, just talking about a topic in general, I know Broad Group recently launched this report saying that India's data center market is going to be growing by like 1.5 billion by 2010. That's huge.
You're right.
Now, how does that translate to the services that you offer? I mean, have you seen more demand, and do you anticipate more demand?
Yeah, I think that's they're right on actually, because again, IDC did a survey recently as well that by 2015, the IT spend in India will be about $110 billion.
Wow.
And a lot of that growth is coming in the SMB sector.
Right.
Not to say that a lot of large enterprises, global enterprises are coming in as well.
Right.
But so you can see that a lot of these companies, when they run their applications or run their IT infrastructure, they'll be looking for secure, mission critical providers for hosting their infrastructure. And so we dovetail right into that by providing these data centers and managed hosting services. And we are very bullish about it, and we look forward to, as I said before, we can't build them fast enough.
Right. So I know you've also spoken on the topic of the shortage of skills for data center management, right? And obviously, if there's more demand for it, there's got to be more people to be able to offer that kind of stuff. So what are some solutions around that you can discuss?
We've been running our data centers profitably for about 4 years.
Okay.
And what we've learned from that is, you have to have a framework of people, process, and technology. all those three things come together to really run your data centers profitably. And what we decided about a year and a half back to launch what we call our RIM services, Remote Infrastructure Monitoring and Management. And that really boils down to a few things. Data centers or the IT infrastructure is getting distributed, content is growing, applications are growing. The audience that look at this information is coming from all over the place. And for enterprises and even for service providers, to provide this 24/7 basis, one, they have to have fairly heterogeneous set of skills.
Right.
And second, they have to have round-the-clock support of monitoring and management. In general, the IT infrastructure running in the data centers is growing and it's getting very complicated.
Right.
So a lot of the IT folks are firefighting. What we are saying is, by thinking of working with a provider like us, they can focus a lot on strategic thinking and how to plan and lay out their infrastructure. One is to work with providers like us who can really get 25 to 40% savings by the virtue of some cost benefits of people, skills that we have, also getting more processes in place, and also that they don't have to invest in technology for monitoring and managing their infrastructure. But the second point I would say is automate, automate, automate. We know this from my Ensign days.
Right.
Is automation is very, very key to bringing, reducing errors in human jobs that are required for monitoring and management. Plus, there are areas that you can automate that take away a lot of the mundane activities that an IT team has to do. So then you don't require all those skills. So you can reduce your risk and exposure associated with shortage of skills. So there are these are a few things, but I talk about this in some of my presentations, so it can be a 2-hour topic.
Something that you're personally passionate about.
Sure, I'm very passionate about that.
Very good, very good. Well, I guess, just to end off, you guys obviously have seen a lot of growth. I'm sure we'll be seeing more, so what can we expect to see?
We are evaluating innovative ways of bringing virtualization to our customers,
Right.
whether it is in the form of cloud or whether it's in terms of virtual storage and so on and so forth. So we are currently looking at multiple options, how to get that to the India customer base, because that still is fairly new in India.
Right.
And second is, in our RIM offerings, we're focusing a lot on SaaS providers, because a lot of the end customers are choosing SaaS as an alternative to consume cloud or SaaS,
Right.
to consume IT. And we are bringing up our RIM services to help the SaaS providers to get more efficient and more proactive in their offerings as well.
Fantastic.
So
Well,
look out for that.
great. Well, you know what, Sandip, thank you so much for your time. It is honestly always a pleasure to get to speak to you.
Good to see you. Thank you.